It is officially time for you to shift. If you are a residential service agency owner in the state of Maryland, this video is for you, so tune in. Hi guys, my name is Pam Grace and I am the founder of ClearShift Solutions, and we are a new HR boutique specialized in supporting residential service agencies or health-based businesses in the state of Maryland with workforce compliance, benefit strategy, and HR transformation. And I am so excited to be of service to you guys. A little bit about me. I have over 15 years of experience in human resources, healthcare management, business operations, as well as business development in the state of Maryland and also in the DMV area. So I am your expert. I'm also an expert in residential service agency, RSAs. Okay. And I've been an expert or started my career in the RSA sector in 2010. Okay. And so you guys are hearing from someone that knows this business inside and out. So let's get into it. If you have not heard, there's been a lot of changes. And if you are a residential service provider, you have to be focused in regulatory compliance. Compliance has to be your friend. And if you're interested in doing good business and staying in business, then you have to make sure that you are compliant. And guess what? There's going to be a lot of costs associated to your lack of compliance, right? And so we want to make sure that you avoid any type of penalties, fees, and or loss of license for lack of compliance. And so join us as we have weekly discussions on all things healthcare, HR, and business growth. So let's rock and roll. Today's segment is around the House Bill 39. Have you heard about it? HB 39 is also known as the Home Care Workers' Right Act. That's right. It is here and it is enforceable. So what does that mean for you? How does this impact you? And how does this impact your business today and tomorrow, right? We want you as business owners to be successful. And once again, you have to pay attention to regulatory compliance. Okay, so it's all about how you're classifying, how you're paying, and how you're retaining your staff. That is where the HR element comes in, okay? Any good business has a strong HR core. I call HR as a skeleton or the framework of a healthy business. And so this is a perfect time to assess, are you healthy? And if you're not, baby, it's time to get it together, all right? So let's break this down for you. If you rely on 1099 contractors to deliver Medicaid funded care, your business is at risk. Now, we understand that there are some residential service agencies that exclusively only service the private pay sector. Okay, this information is still valuable and good for you. If you have not been complying to these regulatory compliance from a workforce development HR perspective, then it's still important for you to pay attention. But this act in particular is really talking about those Medicaid vendors, those Medicaid providers under the Maryland Medicaid waiver programs that are getting paid by the Department of Health. Your business could be at risk, right? So let's go into it. What is HB 39? HB 39 is a law passed in 2023 to protect home care workers. So we're talking about personal aides, caregivers, home health aides, whether they're licensed or unlicensed, okay? So you're talking about your CNA, your GNA, your CMTs, right? This is talking about all of that and your staff support. You are required, okay, to provide fair wages and proper employment classification, okay? So some of us just been doing business, baby, but now it's time to do it right. So let's get into it. Specifically, it requires that caregivers providing services reimbursed by Medicaid must be classified as W-2, not 1099 contractors. Okay? This also means that also means there is the MDH, Maryland Department of Health, and Department of Labor, these agencies are going to be now enforced to be able to audit, right? They have the power now to audit, right, your business. This also allows the state to withhold reimbursement services for services delivered because of misclassification workers, right? So let's say, for example, you had a 1099 employee, quote unquote, providing services for a Medicaid client, and the state is scheduled to pay you. They will withhold funds, meaning you're not going to get your money, but caregiver has provided the work, so you're still responsible to pay that person for the work performed, but you will not be paid because you have this worker misclassified, and now it is not, you're out of compliance. Okay. So that means if you're out of compliance, you're not eligible for payment. Okay. And so you want to be careful. This act will be officially in effect starting January 1st, 2023. But agencies can also be audited right now to confirm preparation. Okay. So that means the state is not playing around. They want to make sure that over 2,000 plus agencies that are considered residential service agency by the Office of Healthcare Quality, you have gotten that license. Over 2,000 plus of you guys have your license. They want to make sure that you guys are doing good business. Okay. If you want more information about this, I encourage you to read and search the Maryland General Assembly. Okay. And you can search HB, which stands for House Bill 39 Summary. Okay. It'll give you all the intel, and you can understand that any bill that's officially passed, it takes a long time for that. So this is not something that has just been sprung up on us. This has been something that's been going on and has been presented to the House for a period of time. Okay. And now it's officially approved and it will impact your business. This is why I'm telling you, business owners, you have to pay attention to regulatory compliance in your state. And if you're servicing clients in other states, so if you have a license in DC or Virginia, you have to pay attention to the regulatory compliance in each state and make sure that you are meeting the standards. Okay. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Let's get on. Why is this a big deal? In short, you could lose your license or your funding. Okay. And we don't want you to do that. I understand that none of you guys, typically people are in business for several reasons. They want to have a legacy company. They're in business to serve and then end up selling their business, right? And or they want to go and perhaps go public, right? And have an OPI and go public. So those are the core reasons people are in business. And so you want to do good business so that you're able to extract the fruit of your labor. And so I want you to pay attention to this. Agencies, okay, why does this matter and why is this a big deal? Okay, agencies that are still using 1099s, right? So independent contractors, they have unclear roles, they have no benefits, and there's inconsistent documentation. Okay, workers are being burnt out or they're filing complaints, right? Because they feel like they're treated like employees, but they're not having any protection, any benefits, right? And Medicaid is having some clawbacks, right? And they have reimbursement pullback retroactively for staff that are not in compliance. So they can turn around and retroactive, meaning go back to a time where they paid you and extract their funds. If you have some future funding that's coming from, they can pull it out, right? So that is why it's important, and that's why it's a big deal. Okay. So I just want you to understand that this act is for personal care service providers under Maryland Medicaid waiver. Okay. You must have your employees now reclassified from 1099 to W-2. It has to be done that in the ISIS system. And it should also be done that it also should match your tax paperwork, right? So if they have a 1099 on file, they need now have to have a W-4 on file, right? And you need to now start transitioning everybody in that way. So that means now they'll be held to the W-2 privileges and protections, and you as an employer are going to be held to those W-2 responsibilities. Okay. And so it's important for you guys to prepare for excellence and to prepare for sustainability. There will be some business owners that will not be able to make that shift, and they will perhaps have to sell their business, or they'll be playing Russian roulette till they get caught up. And so I don't want you to be any of those businesses, but I want you to be strategically preparing yourself for success and starting now. Okay. So we have about 6 months left to get things in order, but we know if you guys books and paperwork's been out of order, it might take you some time to get things together. So don't wait till the last minute. Okay. So what should you know? Step 1, you need to reclassify your team. This isn't just about changing payroll, it's shifting how you operate. Okay. So this is shifting your entire business operations. This is why it's so important to make sure that you understand the true impact of this reclassification. It will cost you money. You will need to get a team of experts to support you. Okay. And you will have to reintroduce this to your team, right? So that means your administrative staff, your current caregivers. It will change how you do business. Okay. And it may also change the caregivers. Caregivers may stay, caregivers may not stay, right? And it's also is going to cause you to think of ways to be competitive, because there has been some benefits for 1099 workers, okay? And there's also been some benefits for the businesses that's been hiring 1099 workers. But so now when those benefits change and everybody's on the same playing ground, so you talk about over 2,000 RSAs in the state of Maryland all have to meet this standard, what's going to be your competitive edge? So now you have to start thinking about strategically around competitive edge. What's your true mission and vision? What's your company culture? What are your benefits and value? Can they feel it? Because a lot of people have benefits and values stated in paper, but it's not in action in their business, right? This is time for you to make a clear shift from mom and pop to a corporation. Are you ready to shift from a mom and pop to a corporation? Ready or not, here it comes. Okay. So I want you to prepare yourself. Okay. So once again, this is not just about changing or reclassifying individuals through payroll. This is all about shifting how you operate your business. Okay. You're talking about offer letters, job description, time tracking system, tax forms, right? Software systems. Again, making sure you have the right team and infrastructure support. Make sure you have the right vendors, experts, right? And capital is also it's going to cost you some money. So maybe money you probably didn't plan on spending. That's what I'm saying. If you are paying attention to regulatory compliance in your state, you know what's coming down the pipe. So therefore, you can make certain plans and anticipate. You can put some funds aside or whatever, so you could be able to be ahead of things, guys. This is shifting us from a season of being reactionary or reactive to being proactive. You have to be a proactive leader. You have to be able to forecast what's happening or what's going to happen, 3 months from now, a year, 5, 10 years from now, if you're talking about sustainability and longevity. You cannot plan for next month. Okay. You have to be, okay. So step 2, you want to build an infrastructure. Okay. So you need a real HR foundation. We're talking about employee handbook that explains classification, sick leave, onboarding, right? It's not just a matter of, okay, go ahead, complete this paperwork. I need your license, your TB test. I need all of that quick, fill this paperwork and get on the job. No. Okay. That is not best practice for you any longer. You will have to make a shift. Okay. Also, timekeeping system, payroll system, a file for each employee. So W-4, I-9s, making sure they sign off on certain policies, making sure they have certain type of trainings, etc. Okay. Talking about company culture and so on. Step 3, you're going to need to get experts. Okay. And this is where clear shift solutions come in. Okay. We at Clear Shift, we specialize in helping Maryland RSA business. So we want you to stay compliant in HB 39. We're going to help with transitioning workers correctly, avoid audit risk and payroll missteps. Okay. And we work directly with employment attorneys. Okay. And benefit providers to ensure you have the full compliance approach. Okay. Because again, these employees is entitled to benefits, and you may have some outdated policies and procedures, outdated handbooks, outdated everything. That has to be renewed, guys. Okay? And you're going to have a legal team, and we have access to that, okay? Also benefits, competitive benefits. Benefits cost money, right? Employees are entitled to benefits. You also want to have a competitive edge. We have benefits providers, and we are able to help you create something that makes sense. I want to leave you with a few resources that I want you to go ahead and check out, okay? So once again, I mentioned the Maryland HB 39 law summary, okay? Department of Labor workforce classification guide. So if you're confused, what is a 1099? What's a W-2? What is my responsibility, etc.? You can find that out, okay? These are government sites, so you have information from there, okay? And so that is our topic for today. I hope you really enjoyed everything. Remember, compliance is not optional, okay? But it doesn't have to be overwhelming. It's not optional. I know it's a lot of work, but it does not have to be overwhelming. We believe that our state agencies deserve clarity, support, and smart strategies, okay? So when you're starting to think about HB 39, do not transition halfway. Okay, make sure you have that Clear Shift, and make sure you hire Clear Shift to help you finish strong. Okay, there's 6 months before the year ends. This is your season to finish strong. Okay, if you're interested in a consultation with us, we'll be able to do a free consultation with you. You're able to access our website at clearshift.solutions.com. You're also welcome to email us hello@clearshift.solutions.com. But we encourage you to go ahead and book that consult. That is the best way to get in our books. And so go ahead to our website again, Clear Shift Solutions. Okay. Also check in with us every week. We'll be dropping a new weekly topic around HB 39 and everything else around compliance, HR, employment law, and business development, everything you need to be successful. So lock in with Clear Shift Solutions. Learn, grow, but prepare for success. Okay. Also, if this video has helped you, please subscribe to our channel. Follow along for weekly updates. Okay, where we share compliance tips, retention strategy. We have leadership tools for healthcare businesses like yours. So make sure you stay in touch with us, okay? Like and subscribe, please. Also, feel free to engage in the comments if you have questions. If you have any comments or anything, feel free. Let us know where you're located in Maryland, okay? Where you're located, etc. All right. Make sure you stay tuned with us. Check us out for the next video. Once again, my name is Pam Grace, and don't forget, it's time for a Clear Shift.